My name's David Corson. I'm your guest host today on the Real Men of Real Estate on KCAA Radio out on the West Coast. Welcome. I'm sitting in as a pinch hitter today, and I'm sitting here with two gentlemen. One name is Charles and the other is Thunder, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves so I get their names and their titles and their companies correct. So, Charles, I'll let you go first.
Thank you, David. My name is Charles James. I'm an attorney here in Southern California. I am also a developer and licensed contractor and builder here in Southern California.
Awesome. Thunder, which is the coolest name ever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so I'm flipping and in multifamily space. I'm from Minnesota, but like I said, we got multifamily in different states at this point. So,
do you have any snow on the ground up there in Minnesota?
Yes, we have more snow than we've ever had for a long time, actually, and it sucks. Yeah, we got probably about 2 feet of snow actually that we've gotten this winter that we usually get about, I don't know, around 8 or 6 to 8 maybe.
Yeah. Listen, I went to University of Denver, so Minnesota, Duluth. There are my arch rivals. We just swept them, so but we swept North Dakota too. So
yeah,
DU's ranked number 1 in the NCHC, so we're coming up to St. Paul in a couple. Well, once the league series comes up. So anyway, you're from Minnesota, so I figured I'd throw that at you. I got my Pio sticks. I have my high up here too. So.
Hey.
So, I was asked by, Marie Wade, who came to my event a couple years back, and we become friends. And she reached out to me. She said, "Hey, will you be my host on the Real Men of Real Estate?" And I was like, "Cool." I always like being invited to either podcasts and radio slots. It's always good to step in when people need me. And I don't know you gentlemen, so this is great to meet you. Thank you for finding the time in your busy day on a Friday afternoon as we record this. But today we're going to talk about real estate, and you're both kind of on the commercial side. I'm a publisher, so commercial to me is retail, restaurant, hospitality, cannabis, craft brew, shopping centers, healthcare. I can go down the list. I really don't get into the pharmaceutical and the industrial side of it, but my editorial concept of my magazine I've had for over 22 years is, basically our design, build, maintain. And the real estate component is kind of intertwined into all of those aspects. And right now, with the roller coaster that's happened over the last 3 years, real estate, on the commercial side, as well as the residential side, it's kind of, it's a very bumpy ride. Especially right now, interest rates have gone up. There's prices have gone down. I'm talking about the residential side. Prices have gone down. So, it's basically pushed out some people in the market. And on the commercial side, some people have pulled back on some of the projects. Other people have lost tenants because people are working out of their homes, and there's a gluttony of real estate that's out there that needs to be filled or renovated into something else. Which is a positive thing from my side of things, because someone's got to go in there and rip out the old carpet and put in the new paint and renovate it. And I know, Thunder, you're a flipper, so you get that gig, on the multifamily side. So what I'd like to do is, we've got so many minutes left in the segment. So Charles, I'm gonna start with you. I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to give me your kind of tailgating off of what I just said. What you see out there in the marketplace,
So you're gonna put me on the clock, huh? You're a sports guy. You're gonna put me on the clock.
Yeah. I'm watching the clock.
I get a couple of minutes here. Okay, so the thing is, to dovetail off of what you said, it is true about like the commercial real estate. When you look at WeWork, and you look at Regis, and you look at these kind of people who are leasing and renting these office spaces, some people didn't have that opportunity because, like you said, they had maybe, I don't know, 20,000 square feet of space that someone was renting, and they were renting that space. And then after a while, they didn't have workers come to work during the pandemic. So then, they either broke the lease, lost the lease, or whatever happened. And now we have this big, huge market with all this space that's out there. So we're wondering what is going to happen with all the space going forward. Who's going to lease it? what's going to happen to these companies? Are people going to start to come back to work? And when we look at it, a lot of companies are having a challenging time getting people back into work because people realize they didn't have to do dry cleaning. People realize they didn't have to drive and do all these different things. And so now we're challenged by the idea of trying to figure out what to do with that open space. So I think the commercial market is going to suffer. And a lot of people always say, why do you say this? But I say for the next 10 years, the commercial market is going to have a problem because we don't have enough people to fit into the spaces. And companies have not provided enough attraction for people to come back to work and say, okay, look, I want to work in an office. I really want to be there. And then they just haven't provided anything to say, okay, look, this is why you should come back to work. So I think those spacing problems that you talk about are going to be there for a long time. What do you think?
I definitely think that's spot on. The biggest thing that's happened is that, people, as the company reopened, they wanted to go to concerts, they wanted to go to ball games, they wanted to go out to dinner, they wanted to go to the beach. But when it came back to coming back to the office, it was like, I don't think so, And so it was, if you were an a corporation that had X amount of employees and they were all working at their home, they proved themselves. They proved that they would be more productive, and all of those things. Trying to force them to come back is kind of a catch-22 because you don't want to piss them off, excuse my French, or alienate them. You could always, get rid of them and go offshore, but you probably won't get the quality, and you won't have that control. The biggest thing is company culture. That's what when I, especially on my podcast, the people that I'm talking to on my own magazine, that they all said that company culture was the one thing that they wanted to maintain. And how do you do that? And I think going the hybrid route is the best way, because you make them come in a couple of days. They still you can keep that company culture, but you also keep them happy that they are working at home, because a lot of people realize that before the shutdown, it was just work. Now, after the shutdown and the opening, people are like, hey, I've got a life. I want to do all these things. There's, life's short. You never know what's going to happen. And that's the dichotomy as a real estate owner that has a gluttony of this open space is, what am I going to do with it? Eventually, it's going to be filled. I remember when I went to the University of Denver in the 80s. I'm giving my age away, but right. Downtown was empty. The oil boom had gone and all those buildings were empty. Now you go back there, they're all full, and they've done a ton of more construction. So eventually something's going to happen to that. It's going to be the entrepreneurs and the people that have vision that are going to be able to, fill that space and so forth. But you're spot on with that whole analogy of, hey, what do I do with this? And, when is it going to get filled? So real estate is, I was just talking, I had a guy on my podcast a couple of days ago. He's a luxury developer out of Miami. And he actually hired more people during the whole roller coaster over the last couple of years. And he said that real estate is the largest business segment, larger than automobiles. We've got a big boomer coming through here, so sorry. Hopefully I won't lose my power. But he said that real estate was probably the biggest business segment in the world. And, bigger than construction or automobiles. And he went down a whole list of business segments, but he just said real estate is just an amazing category to be in, because you're going to go through all these dips and valleys. It's just the nature of the business. And right now we're kind of in that valley of unknown, but it's going to come back up. So Thunder, what's your take on it?
I'm like with you. I agree that it's going to come back up. And like you said, I've talked to a lot of I've gone to a lot of events too. And a lot of them are, like you said, hunkering down, and they're buying more. They're buying more than they've ever been before. So obviously there's, like you said, there's opportunities there now to buy. And so, like I said, people are doing it. And I'm one of them. Like I said, I just got into multifamily back in November of last year. And so we have a partner in mind, and we've had some opportunities, and we're, like I said, we're rolling forward. Like I said, when I first started 3 years ago, as of this March, we started on the single family flipping on the big side of on the luxury side of things, and it was good at that time. And now, like you said, it's tough to sell on the luxury house because nobody's buying right at the moment. On the higher end like that. The lower end, middle and lower end, people are still buying, but not on that high end.
Yeah, my wife's an interior designer, and she's been so busy over the last couple of years because people haven't, aren't selling their house. They're redoing their kitchen, they're redoing their bathroom, they're redoing their home, the basement. She just went out on 2 site visits today, and we sold our house in October of 21. It basically, it was my third house. It was my trophy house. I had it for 17 years, but my kid had moved out. We had 7,300 square feet, just me and 5 dogs and my wife. And now we have a piece of land up on the lake that I'm waiting to build on, but I'm waiting for interest rates to come down and for the labor shortage to kind of settle down a little. And I'm living in a little house, but I'm loving it. I've got no overhead. I don't miss it. It was great while we had it, but and that buyer is a complete different, because when I went to buy my house to live in now, there were like 30 or 40 people that I'd have to beat people out to buy this home, this little home that I'm sitting in. And but when I sold my house, and they're much more pickier, as far as that went. But I've got about a minute left in this segment. With my own show, I always ask, if there'd be one word that you could describe the real estate market before we go into our commercial here for our sponsor, what would it be for the real estate, do you think? Charles?
I don't want like to be negative about the real estate market, like Thunder said, because, the one thing is that I believe the United States is always going to rebound. We're always going to rebound. So I would say that it's a rebounding market. That's what I would say. There you
go. Rebound, bounce back. I love
bounce back.
Thunder?
Rebounding market.
Buyers. Yep, buyers. I'm going buyers market.
Buyers market. All right. I'm going right between buyers and sellers. You need them both to tango. You need them both to dance. So, all right. So, listen, that was a really good segment, and we appreciate your feedback. And all you out there as listeners, we're going to take a short break and let our sponsors tell their story, and we'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. So hang tight. We'll be back. Thanks.